Hey folks, today I want to run you through everything I crocheted in the last 12 months because I made some things I'm really proud of and I think you might like them too. So if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, stick around because I'm going to run you through each of the projects and link you to any patterns or tutorials I used in the process. So we're starting out with one of my favorite things actually, which is a smiley face granny square. The humble smiley face. I love these because they remind me of the 60s and the 90s all at the same time, which I think is really fun. This one's just a standard circle into square granny square, and I've done some embroidery on top to make the smiley face. So after I made this one, I got really excited and I made a bunch more, and then I put them into a tote bag. So there's 9 squares on each side, and I ran out of the yellow, but I used a purple on the back side, which I think is really fun. And I like it because when I'm wearing it with different outfits, I can just flip the bag around and have a different option. This one's made with an 8-ply or DK weight cotton, which I think is a really good option. And also it's a pretty quick project to make. So if you're looking for a quick and pretty easy project, I would definitely recommend this one. After I made the white version, I also made a black version because everything goes with black and I wear a lot of black, so I thought this would be a great option to have in my wardrobe. I probably use this one a little bit more just because it's a bit more versatile, but they're both cute and I love them. I made a tutorial for how to do the granny square and a separate one for how to do the bag, so if you want to make one too, check those out. Then sticking with the bag theme, I made a couple phone pouches which are super handy to have because sometimes you just want to go out and you don't have any pockets, but all you want to take is your phone and maybe some keys. So these are great. I started off making a daisy granny square. I used a really thick cotton. I think this is a chunky weight or a 14-ply cotton, which is perfect for a phone pouch because you want it to be nice and sturdy. So I started with this granny square and then I made this phone pouch, which has 2 granny squares on each side sewn together, which I think looks really cute. I'd say this is one of the projects I've used the most because I take it out on my walks most days. And it's held up really well. It's got a nice long strap so I can wear it across my body, and it's got room for my keys and some cards, my phone, and a lip gloss or something like that. So it's pretty much a perfect project. And I've also got this version too, which uses the same daisy motif, which looks cute, but instead of doing the stacked granny squares, this one actually builds it out with some granny stitches above. So we start with a square on each side and then rows of granny stitches to make your bag shape. I really like the colours in this one. I think it's absolutely perfect for spring. This one uses a finer cotton. I think this was 8-ply or DK weight, which makes it a little bit less sturdy. If I was to make it again, I'd probably use a slightly thicker yarn. There's one more bag for now, but then we're going to do another one later. So this one is just a super quick project I made. I wanted to come up with a project you could do in an hour, so I used a nice chunky yarn and just made a cute little checkered bag. I really like these colours together. I love the checkered pattern. It was a really fun project to make. It's nice how quick it is to make, but I don't use it that often because I don't tend to use shoulder bags. So I'm thinking I might actually take this strap off and crochet a longer one on that I can wear across body. But it's a really fun project and super quick too, so if you've got to make any last minute gifts, this could be a good option. We're going to move away from the bags for a bit into our witchy celestial zone of crochet. So I got really inspired by some witch sort of iconography and celestial elements, so I thought I would do a bunch of crochet in that style. So the first thing I came up with was this crescent moon granny square. This one was such a fun one to make. It was a bit of a tricky pattern to draft because I wanted to make sure I got it absolutely perfect the way it was sort of laid out, and I wanted to make sure the square remained perfectly square at the end. I love how simple this one looks. I love how it really shows off the moon shape, and I love this background yarn that I was using as well because it's so beautiful. I often get a lot of questions about what yarn it is, so I thought I'd tell you that too. It is from Blackwattle. It's an Australian brand. I'm not sure if they ship internationally, but it's the Blue Gum yarn, which is 55% wool and 45% silk. And it's the softest thing you've ever felt, which is lovely. This one is in the Songbird colorway, which is just beautiful. After I made this moon, I thought it needed some buddies to go with so I could put them into a bigger project. So I did a sun square as well, a 5-pointed star, and a 4-pointed star. And the good thing about these patterns is they all work perfectly together. They make the same size square, so if you wanted to make a project with all of these mixed in together, they're all a perfect fit, and they've got the same amount of stitches around the border of each square, so when you're stitching them up together, they're always going to work. When I was creating these patterns, it was a little bit of trial and error because it's hard to get things to work out perfectly. So I did a bunch of practice ones, and I was just looking through these before, and I noticed that there was a moon one I did that had a granny stitch around the edge instead of the solid one, which I think I might like to revisit for another project because I think that would look really nice having a slightly more open background. And the same with this version of the sun square. I didn't finish this one off, but it's kind of nice looking back on it how open it is, and I think this would work really well in a more sort of summer weight project. But yes, I made tutorials for each of those squares, so if you want to have a look, you can check those out and make your own because they really are super fun. After making those ones, I was still a bit stuck on the moon theme, so I thought it would be fun to do a set of granny squares that had the moon phases in them, and I think they turned out really good. I really love these ones. I started off with this one, which is just a circle into square, granny square. But when it's made up all in the same yarn, it just looks really nice and elegant because you get that slight detail in the patterning from the circle in there. But then, I don't know, it's a fun square. I really like this one. Then I worked on the little crescent one. Again, this one was a little bit harder to come up with because I wanted it to sit perfectly within the space, but I think it ended up looking really good. Then I've got the same one from before, and then we've got a big boy moon, which I think looks really good. I think this might be my favorite out of the lot of them just because it's, I don't know, it's kind of like a little happy moon. I think that one is fun. And then I used the circle into square pattern again for the full moon. I was making a bunch of these squares and I thought it'd be fun to put them in a project. I was going to do a cardigan, but I didn't have enough yarn at the time. So I ended up making a vest, which I thought is fun. It's just a witchy little vest you could put over a dress or a t-shirt or something like that. The squares all work perfectly together. It looks really nice. The yarn is super soft, which I love, but I don't wear it very often. I feel like maybe I thought in my mind I could be a vest person, but I just don't think I am a vest person. So I've got a new plan. I'm going to make some more squares. I got some more of this yarn, and then I'm going to take this one apart and I'm going to make a cardigan or maybe a jumper out of it. And I'm pretty sure that is something I will wear a lot more. I think the next thing I made was these really fun Christmas baubles because it was Christmas time. I loved these ones. These are a 10 out of 10 project for me because A, they were really quick and they were really fun to make. And when I put them on the Christmas tree, they looked so good, honestly. Just brightened up the whole room, and it was a really fun way to get your craft into Christmas time and make it look really cute. So I would definitely recommend dipping into your stash of yarn and making some of these baubles yourself before Christmas time because you will love it. I swear you will love it. Next up is one of my absolute favorite things I've ever made, ever in the history of time. It was a bigger project, but I absolutely love it. It is this cardigan. So I made this cardigan after I saw a picture on TikTok. Timothy Chalamet was wearing one of these. It's by a brand called Cactus Plant Flea Market, and it was part of one of their collections. It sold out super quick, so I thought it'd be fun to make one. I think this is one of my favorite projects that I worked on because figuring out the pattern was so much fun. I really liked the challenge of sort of looking through images and trying to find things online that would help me figure out exactly how to make this one. Also, making it itself, like it's a big project. There's a lot of crocheting to do, but it felt really quick because you're switching between double crochet and single crochet each row. So I feel like even just changing the stitch you're doing row by row makes it feel quicker. And then the added benefit of changing colour every row, which makes things really fun because you are always sort of thinking, what am I going to put in the next row, which is a fun thing to look forward to. Also, in relation to this one, I've been thinking it would be great to have a little matching something I can wear with this one. So I think my next project is going to be something that's going to match this one, and I'm really excited about it. So stay tuned for that. Then the next thing I made was the famous Betty McKnit 6-Day Star Blanket. You've probably seen this one about on the internet because everyone's making it and it looks amazing. It's such a good pattern. So I'll link it in down below in the description too if you want to make one. The pattern is great and she's got video tutorials of how to make it too, but it looks so good. Honestly, I couldn't be more happy with how this one turned out. It is so beautiful. The colors are amazing. The pattern's really fun. It's on the bed every day. The cats love sitting on it, which is very cute. And it was just a really great project to work on. Again, it was a big project and it took a long time, but it didn't feel like it took very long because It was one of those patterns that it just had a lot of variety and a lot of interest in it, so it keeps you going as you go through. I did a video about the process of making this one too, and I timed everything, so if you want to see how long it takes, spoiler, it was about, I think, 24 hours. But if you want to see the process of making it, you can check that out too. But yeah, I would highly recommend making this blanket if you are into stars or blankets. Or crochet, because it was really fun. I really loved this one. And the latest thing I made is this dupe of the Miu Miu crochet bag that's been doing the rounds everywhere since I think they launched it in the summer collection maybe. I worked off the images I found online to draft a pattern. I think I got it pretty right. I made some changes and I had a lengthy discussion over on TikTok about what stitch they're using in the bag, because it definitely isn't double crochet. And there's still some debate about whether it's a crochet stitch or if it's a knitting machine made to look like crochet, but I used a double crochet for mine and I used some scrap yarn doubled over, and I think it looks great. I put a cute zip in and some nice little sort of hardware. I had this strap already, so I thought that would be perfect to use, and yeah, it's just really cute. So that's what I made in 12 months. It's not the hugest amount, but I like to go with the idea of less is more. And I had fun making each of these projects, which is, I think, the main thing when it comes to crochet. So I've got some exciting ideas for some projects coming up in the next couple months, so I'm excited to get going on those. But leave me a comment below and let me know what you're working on or what you've made in the last 12 months. If there's anything you recommend, I want to know, because I'm always looking for inspiration for things to make too. Thanks for listening. I hope you had fun looking at all my projects, and I'll see you next time. Bye.